Today I'm talking to you if you have a desire that you feel bad about. If there's something that you want, whether you're pursuing it or not, you feel bad, you feel guilty, you feel a little wrong for wanting it, and you're looking for a way to have some relief around that. If that's the case, then today's video is for you. My name is Jaclyn Foster. I am a relationship and fulfillment coach, and it's one of my greatest passions to help people shift from feeling unsatisfied and unfulfilled to feeling more passionate, more loved, more excited, and more fulfilled both in their relationship and as an individual. If you enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And also, if you want to stay connected in other ways, you can take a look at my link below. I have my Instagram and my email, as well as a way to get set up with one-on-one coaching if you are like, oh my gosh, I need someone to really help me untangle this a bit more, which is super normal and natural. We all need people to really help dive in with us and help us create some lasting shifts. So if you're interested in that, take a look below. Okay, so you're feeling bad about your desires. Well, okay, let me start with a story first. When I published my book, I Touch Myself, I got an email from someone who asked me to stop talking about desire. And his reasoning was that people couldn't handle it. Right? It's like, people can't handle their desires. It would be better if you would stop talking about this. And what I came to learn and know is that this man emailing me saying that I should stop talking about desires because people can't handle it was really him saying, I don't know how to handle my desires, and it's confronting for me to see other people pursuing theirs. Because when you feel bad about a desire, it is not that your desire is bad. It's that you learned from someone who was doing the best they could, but didn't feel permission for their own desires, that what you wanted was bad. Right? So it is not that you are bad. It is not that your desire is bad. Is that your desire was witnessed by someone who didn't feel freedom to express their own desires, and it's very hard for them to see you in yours and have permission for it. Right? I'll give you a few examples, right? It's like a person that maybe deep down, like they've always wanted a threesome, but they've felt bad and that it wasn't allowed, and they learned from someone else that it was bad and wasn't allowed. And then you come to them and you're like, always had this desire for a threesome, right? If they don't feel permission in themselves, there is no way they're going to be able to hold space for you, right? And encourage you in your desire. It has nothing to do whether it's good or bad, but this situation with that other person is showing you that that person doesn't feel permission within themselves. And you need to learn that that has nothing to do with you and whether or not that desire is good and true for you. Let's do a non-sexual example for a moment too, because I think it's important to know that desires can be sexual and non-sexual, right? But say you have a desire to write a book, right? Like you've learned something that you think is really valuable, but maybe it's an opinion that not everybody shares, but you are trying to talk to someone about it who's always wanted to express themselves creatively and they've never done it. Or it's about a topic that they've struggled with and you try to talk to them about it, right? And they're like, no, you shouldn't do that, right? That's not good. Why don't you do something else, right? The problem or the thing going on here is not that your desire to publish a book is bad. It's that the person that you learned from, are connecting with, didn't feel permission within themselves, and so that's all they're able to provide is that lack of permission, because that's all they feel within themselves. And this is such an important thing to grasp about expressing and living our desires, is that it is so vital to think about who we are utilizing as our support system and whether or not they have explored and have the capacity within themselves to have explored desire, right? Because desire is like, desire, I feel like, can feel like this almost, it's just this like huge, massive, like word that is so charged, right? Because desire really is where we find ourselves as individuals. It's where we start to go off the path of what, you know, everybody does, and sort of more of like the cookie cutter robot following the rules. And it's where we create our own path. And that's what can feel really scary, especially when we're living around or having people around us that have stayed on the main path, right? They've like stayed on the main highway where most people are comfortable with. And you're trying to, you know, build your own exit and create your own path. And so it is going to bring up resistance where someone in your life, right? It might be a parent, it might be a religious figure, it might be religious teachings in general, it could be a community group, it could be really anything. But you learned a long time ago from someone who didn't feel permission for their desires that what you wanted, what you were talking about, what you desired was bad. And so you lost that sense of permission. But that sense of permission can be regained. And part of that is understanding where you learned to feel bad about that desire. So that's what I'm encouraging you to think about today, is that desire that you want, that you feel bad, that you have some reservation about. Where did you learn that it was bad? How did you learn that it was bad, right? Was it from a specific person? Was it from a rule in society where you grew up with or where you grew up in, right? Remember, so many of the things that we learn, they're just man-made, right? Like someone made a rule about it, but now you get to decide as an individual whether or not that feels right and true for you. And you have permission to do that, right? You have permission to think about the desires that feel right and true for you, and whether or not you want to express them, starting a conversation about them. And because one thing I believe is true is I'm far less interested in whether or not a person decides to be monogamous or non-monogamous, or whether or not a person decides to get married and start a family and have kids, or whether or not they decide to get married or stay single and just have different relationships throughout their lifetime. Like, I'm not as interested at all in what you decide to do and what you decide feels right and true for you. What I'm interested in is, are you following what feels right and true for you, and expanding the amount of permission that you feel within yourself and the sense of trust and love that you have within yourself to actually follow what feels right and true for you. Okay. I hope this has been helpful, at least to start to expand your awareness. I know this can take some time to really shift from feeling bad about something that you want to actually feeling enough of that permission to lean into it enough to take action. But just this awareness alone of realizing, oh my gosh, yeah, this did not start from me. And oh yeah, this person that I tried to share my desires with didn't feel permission for themselves. Knowing that alone starts to untangle the knots, which over time, all of that adds up and helps give you more and more permission, and helps you feel better and better about what feels right and good and true for you. Okay, wonderful. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and you can also find more of my contact information below. Wishing you an amazing, amazing day. Your desires matter. Stay true to them, get supported to follow through on them. They matter. They make you, you. Mwah. So much love, and I'll see you next time.